kind of hard writing the speech, thinking back on all that we've been through. Good and not so good, but in the end, God has shown us His faithfulness, and so I just want to share a bit of that with you guys. When I was first pregnant with our first son, Caden, I kind of had this sense that God was telling me that we were going to have a beautiful child. And I know every parent thinks that their child is beautiful. This felt different, it felt significant. And so when Caden was born, I feel horrible to say that I was disappointed. Caden was born with a cleft lip, where his top lip didn't fully form. And he also has a notch or indent in his upper gum line as well, which will need surgery when he gets older. So, cleft-wise, his cleft wasn't that serious as it could have been. But those first days I struggled with having to accept our new circumstances. But it didn't take long, and there was this kind of God moment. I was holding him in the hospital, and he looked up at me with his beautiful eyes, and just this peace washed over me, and I just knew that everything was going to be okay, everything was going to work out. But Caden had his surgery to fix his lip at around 4 months old. And I really had all the trust in the world in his surgeons. Caden was around 11 pounds and at that point, and so it's hard handing over your tiny little baby, and I really wasn't prepared for what the healing process was going to be like afterwards. When I went in to get him right after the surgery, he was crying in this hoarse, painful cry, and there was like blood on the sheet, and I just felt so helpless. Like it's a hard feeling. My first thought was, what did I do to you? I felt awful for having to put him through that. But when you love someone so much, you don't want to change anything about them. Like, we had grown so attached to his cleft, it was part of him, right? So it's hard to change that, and when you love someone so much, you don't want anything to harm them. You would do anything to keep them from harm. That first night after surgery was really hard. I was with him in the hospital by himself, but I spent the whole night rocking him. We brought our big exercise ball along, and I'm so thankful that we did, because I was bouncing on that all night long, and I was near passing out at some points, and so yeah, it was tough. That next morning, he was starting to babble again, and he was starting to smile already, so that was a great thing to see. It's hard thinking back on these times. We went through a roller coaster of emotions. Caden was born with a cleft, but he's not defined by it. He's so much more. He's funny, he's loving, he is prayerful, he's silly, he's energetic, very energetic. If you see him running around everywhere. Lock your car doors, because he will go in them. And yes, he is beautiful. As Caden got older, I found a Cleft support group online, and every once in a while a parent would share their story about their child, and I got thinking that it would be such a great idea to put these stories together between a few online friends. And so I was pointed towards another mom who has a child born with a cleft as well, and she had self-published a children's book. So with her, she helped me get things started on my new project. so I will tell you about that. My book is titled, I Wish I'd Known How Much I Love You. And the statement really reflects how many parents find out early on and go through so much stress, worry, and depression when they're given that cleft diagnosis that their child is going to be born with a cleft. But in the end, love conquers all. Love is greater than all our worries. The final result of the book is so much greater than I had first imagined. It includes not only stories of these children born with a cleft, but before and after surgery photos and information, frequently asked questions, a huge glossary, and a huge list of resources for new parents of children born with a cleft. And putting together this book has been a huge journey in and of itself. I've had so many highs and so many downs along the way. I've learned a lot about myself. It's given me confidence in my ability. God has shown me His faithfulness. He's seen this project through and He's helped me put the pieces together. When I didn't know where to turn next, He had an answer. Even if I feel far from God, He has always showed up. If I'm not praying like I should, He's always showed up. Deuteronomy 31 verse 6 says, "The Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you." We each have our own journey. God has a unique path for all of us. He is there with you, and He is with you, and He is forever faithful.